Welcome. Good day, everybody. My name is Achoyin Chidera, and today I'll be taking you through a summary of my learnings um, from the XC 101 Think Cyber Nigeria program. Right now, this training provided me with a strong foundation in cybersecurity concepts like networking and basically just practical applications of cybersecurity. Now, throughout this presentation, I'll break down key topics and real world relevance to the things that I've learned, right? So, firstly, I'm going to talk about the overview. That's the next slide. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. So, the overview, right? The objective of this training is to equip us, the students, with practical cybersecurity knowledge. And throughout the course, we explore topics like network services, Google Docking, as you can see, Shodan, network analysis, and much more. Each of these topics play a critical role in securing network and understanding cyber threats. And by the end of this presentation, you will see how these elements come together to form a solid cybersecurity foundation. Now, the next thing we learned, the next thing I'm going to talk about is numeral systems, right? So, everybody might have learned about binaries and decimals and conversions from binary to decimals, but the numeral system is essential for understanding how data is processed in computers, right? We used conversion tables and tools like Rapid Table. I'm going to show you Rapid Table right now. This is Rapid Table. All you have to do is search rapid tables online, and this is rapid table. So you can convert from ASCII to hexadecimals to binaries to decimals. That's basically what ASCII does. For example, frog. This is the this is the hexadecimal form. This is binary form. This is decimal form. This is the 64 form. Right. Let's continue. Um, this knowledge is basically crucial for data storage and cryptographic applications. In cybersecurity, hexadecimals are often used to represent hash values, and binary is critical in representing IP addressing and subnetting. We're going to talk about IP addressing next. So, IP addressing, right? Now, IP addresses are unique. They are unique numerical labels assigned to devices on a network. And we explored both the IPv4 and the IPv6 formats, as well as the private and the public IPs. Now, understanding the IP addressing is very valid for network configuration. It's like having a mail and trying to send a mail to a house without an address. It is not possible because you will not be able to locate you. And that's why the IP addressing is essential. It's the same thing for networking. If you're trying to make a request on the internet, in order for the request to be sent back to you, you need an IP address so that the response would be sent to the exact specific device, right? Now we talked about the private and the public IPs, and we talked about the classes of IPs. There are five classes of IPs. There is the class A, class B, class C, class D, class E. The class A is used for large networks and it has the most amount of can contain the most amount of devices, over 60 million. The class B can contain about medium sized, it's for medium sized networks. It's used for small, and class C is used for small networks. Class D is used for multicasting, and class E is experimental. We also talked about the static and the dynamic IPs, right? The static IP is manually assigned and does not change. It's useful for servers, while the dynamic IP is assigned by the DHCP and can change over time. Typically, it's used for client devices. Um, the dynamic IP helps basically it just helps conserve addresses, while static IPs are better for stable connections. Next thing we talk about is the network services. Now, in the network services, we talked about the DNS, we talked about the DHCP, we talked about the port numbers. Now, the DNS stands for Domain Name System. It converts domain names into IP addresses, allowing easier access to websites. Now, without the DNS, users would have to remember complex numerical IP addresses. So let's take, for instance, um, we're going to use command prompts to be more practical with this, like we did in class. So we're going to clear this. Permission command. So let's say we want to ping something, ping, CNN.com, right? Now we can see this IP address. Now what the DNS does, this is the IP address. What the DNS does is that the it helps us convert the user readable like language, like the CNN that I just input. It converts to the IP address for us. If not for DNS, we'd have to memorize the IP address that I just showed you and be inputting it to our web browsers, and that would be stressful. So DNS is like a phone book, right, for the internet. Now we talked about the DHCP. The DHCP is it basically stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Now it automatically assigns IP addresses to devices. Basically, what it does, it reduces the manual configuration and ensures smooth network operations. The DHCP has four steps in order to assign IPs to devices. The first step is DORA. I mean, the what's it called? Acronym used to remember the step is DORA. D is for discover, O is for offer, R is for request, and A is for acknowledgement. Now, the once the device is turned on in the system, the device sends a DHCP request signal to the router, and it sends back an offer, right, saying that, oh, I have an IP for you, right, and then the um device will now send back a request saying, oh, I need that IP, and then the router or DHCP will now assign it the IP that it just offered it. Now, this is essential because in order for you to ping, or in order for you to make requests and also get responses, you need an IP address. So the DHCP basically just assigns each device an address, right? An IP address, a private IP address. Now we talked about port numbers. Um, is basically used to identify specific services, right? So HTTP is port 80, HTTPS is port 443, SSH is port 22, and there are many other ports. DNS is also a has its own ports and all of that. So ports help organize network traffic and allows multiple services to run on the same machine. The importance of these services is that they enable seamless connectivity and efficient network management. Now, the next slide is on Shodan, right? So Shodan is basically a search engine that scans and indexes the internet connected devices. It can be used for security auditing, penetration testing, and research. Many critical infrastructure systems, such as traffic control and industrial plants, are basically exposed online through Shodan. Now, how do we use Shodan? You go online and input shodan.io, right? I already input it so that it save us time. And there are basically filters that you can use to find devices. So let's say you are looking for, I'm just going to do a few filters. Say you are looking for devices in a specific country, let's say US. You search for it, and then the devices will come out. It's taking too much time. It's because of my network bad. And let's say you can also find ports, right? So you put same way you put C country here, you put port here, and then you put colon 22. This is for city. If you wanted to find city colon Lagos, you see the devices in Lagos. If you wanted to find ports colon port 22, this is SSH. It will show you right here. If you wanted to find be more specific with the location, you put geo, then put the longitude and latitude over here, and then you search for it. That's basically how what's it called? Shodan works. Basically, Shodan is important because it helps identify exposed services and potential security risks, and it's used by security professionals to monitor and secure networks. Now, the next thing we did was Google Docking, right? So, what Google Docking is that what it does is that it allows us to use advanced search queries to find sensitive information online, right? Now, cyber criminals also often use these techniques to locate exposed databases or vulnerable sites, but it can also be used by people like cybersecurity personnel like us in order to find specific information that we're looking for. Now, there are also filters, or sorry, Google Docs that we can use, right? And all it does is that it specifies the information that you are looking for. So let's say this is a Google Doc. So let's say you're looking for a site, you put site colon CNN.com. This is a Google Doc. Provide all the sites. This it has made it more specific, right? Instead of just inputting to Google. Doc. Now, if you're looking for the file type, a specific file type under this thing, you put site semicolon file type, and then you put the um, file type that you're looking for. It could be PDF, it could be Excel. Either ways, information will be brought up and it's more specific than just searching CNN.com, if that makes sense. Just everything comes out. Okay. Moving on. Um, that's about Google Docking. So Google Docking is used for penetration testing and to find security vulnerabilities. It also helps in open source intelligence investigation, and ethical hackers can use Google Doc to detect misconfiguration before attackers do. The next thing we learned about is hashing and encoding. Now, hashing and encoding are essential concepts in cybersecurity that helps protect structure and structured data. Right. Now, encoding is a process of converting data into different formats for transmission or storage. Now, unlike encryption, encoding is not meant to secure data but to ensure compatibility. Examples of encoding schemes include base64, URL, etc. Now, base64 decode is this. This is base64 encode. It's also base64 decode. It is a site or a tool that we're using in order to convert um, encode and decode things. So this would be where you put the data that you want to encode, and this you click here, and this it will come out here. Now, if you also wanted to decode, right, instead of encode, you come here and click decode, and you'll be able to decode still. Okay. Now that's what base64 is about. So now we're going to go to hashing, right? So hashing transforms um, input data into a fixed length, like a fixed length hash value. Unlike encoding, hashing is irreversible. Encoding you can encode, you can decode, but hashing is not reversible. So meaning you cannot retrieve the original data from the hash. It's used to store passwords. It's used to store passwords and digital signatures and data integrity checks and all of that. That's what it's used for. And common hashing algorithms include um, MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. Now we're going to go to command prompt. Now, in order to hash a identify in my computer that I want to hash, right? So I'll go to PowerShell. Now, instead of it being in command prompt, I need to do it in PowerShell in order for me to get the to hash the file. Now, in order to hash this file, you input get file hash. Input dots the name of the file, right? The name of the file I save it as a booklet.txt. It's a text file, and then you do already. So this is the hash value. That's SHA-1. Instead of putting SHA-1, you can also put MD5. You can also put SHA-256. So basically, that's how you can get the hash of um, a file that you already have saved in your device. Now, that's what we learned about hashing. Now we're going to go to command prompt. Now, command prompt is the tool that I just used to explain um, hashing to you. Command prompt is used for system and networking management. So understanding command line tools is essential for security professionals. Now, we also learned about many useful commands like ipconfig, like ping, like netstart, like task list. Let me show you how it can be used also. So, all right. So I'm going to clear this. Back to command. Just to be safe. Now, once you use ipconfig, ipconfig is basically used to show network configuration, right? ipconfig, so it will show you all the network configurations. You can put ipconfig slash or it's for same thing, but it's more in depth, right? So when I talk about IP addressing, this is where you can find the IP address. So if this is the IP address of the device, this is the DHCP server address, this is the default gateway, all the addresses that you want. So this is basically information that you can get, right? In order to test connectivity, you can ping anything. You can ping google.com. Pinging is also a command. Ping is a command. This is the IP address, like I showed you before when we were talking about the DNS. This is netstart. Sorry, this is used for to display active networks, right, in your network connections. You can also use task list. It shows the running processes in the device, right? Let's continue. Now, the importance of these commands is that it helps in troubleshooting and securing networks. They basically provide a deep insights into system status and potential vulnerabilities. Okay. Now, let's talk about OSI models. We're not about OSI models. OSI models consist of 7 layers, each responsible for different aspects of communication. Now, cyber attack can occur at each layer, affecting um, networks security. Now we're going to go from bottom to top. Now the bottom layer is basically the first layer still. So the bottom layer, which is the physical layer, it manages hardware, and an attack that occurs in here is the wiretapping. The next layer is the data link layer, and it basically handles the mark, right? And an attack that occurs here is ARP spoofing. Also, a protocol that is used in the data link layer is the ARP. The network layer is what it does is that it routes data, right? And this an attack that occurs in this network layer is IP spoofing, right? And a protocol that is used in this layer is also IP and ICMP. IP stands for Internet Protocol, ICMP, and the rest of them. Now we're going to talk about the transport layer, right? So the transport layer ensures data is delivered, right? And a protocol that is used here is TCP and UDP. And also, um, an attack that will occur in this layer is the UDP flow, right? Now we talked about the just finish the transport layer, we could do the network layer, the talked about the session layer. It manages sessions, right? And what it does is that it manages sessions and it ensures that there is the connection between the device and the browser is open, right? So um an attack that occurs in this layer is session hijacking, right? And um the protocol that is used in this layer is um RPC and BTP. Sorry, RPC is used here. So the next layer is the presentation layer. What the presentation layer does is that it encrypts data and compresses data in order to secure it. Um, an example of an attack is the SSL stripping, and then also the protocol used in here is TLS and SSL. So basically, what it does is that it encrypts data and compresses it in order to secure the data. The application layer is basically all it does is it interfaces with the user. So it's basically your browser where you ping things and all of that. And an attack that occurs here is phishing and uses protocols like HTTP and all of that. So I hope that's clear. The next thing we talked about is network traffic analysis. So Wireshark is right here. Wireshark is a tool that is used to capture and analyze network packets. So network administrators and cybersecurity professionals use Wireshark to troubleshoot issues and detect security threats. Right. So I have Wireshark here. I have Wireshark here. Wireshark is really good. Let me get it. So this is Wireshark. Right. So in this area, you can input look here, you setting it here. You can input um you can input filters. These are it's one, right? So you can input filters in this area, right? So let's say you wanted to search for a specific IP address, right? So put IP, there's ADDR, and then equals. This is just an example of a filter that I can use. So what this Wireshark does is that is used to capture and analyze network packets, right? So if I wanted to find a specific filter, I mean a specific IP address, you put this and then you put the IP address, let's say 192.168.16.33, right? Sorry, those 33, or however you want to put it, and you just input it there. If you wanted to find a specific port, you put TCP port, you put if you want to find TCP, so if you try to find the TCP protocol, you can find the DNS, you can find all of that. So that's basically what Wireshark is used for. It's used to detecting um, malicious traffic, or it's used for troubleshooting network issues, right? And Wireshark just allows forensic analysis and network activity, analysis of network activity. Sorry. Um. So what's next? We're going to be doing is designing um steps in order to design your ideal home network. So first thing you do is you sketch out your network architecture using Draw.io. Draw.io is a tool that we used in our classes to design things like this, right? We have laptops, all of this. In order for you to design your own um, home network, drawing it is essential in order to create an accurate depiction of what you want, right? This is the site. So if you want, this is the case. If you want to get arrows to draw, click on it, connect it here. Basically, this is how it works. This is a laptop, this is a router. In order to get a router, you search it here, right here, put router, enter. If you want to get a laptop or anything, it could be a phone, it could be a server, it could be a server, sorry for that. It could be a server. This is just the tool that you use to design it, right? Like here, like here. There are laptops here that are connected to the router, which are connected to the internet, which is connected to the server. So you allocate the IP addresses. I already explained how this works. Basically, what it does is that when the laptop is turned on, it sends a request for an IP address, and then through the DORA process, it gains an IP address from the DHCP, and DHCP assigns it its own private IP, right? And the DHCP, the router now gets its own public IP address from the internet service provider, right? So if the laptop requests for something outside, requests for paying something like google.com, right? What it does is that request is sent to the router, and the router relates to the internet and gets the information from the server. Now the response is sent to the router's public IP address, and then the router now sends it to your own private IP address. That's why the IP addresses are important. Now, the next step is to secure the devices. So implement firewalls and encryption to safeguard the connected devices. And the last step is to test reliability. So performing thorough testing to ensure smooth virus-free network operations is very essential. The next thing we talked about is network analysis tools at your fingertips. So we talked about network analysis tools like Wireshark, Shodan, Google Docking, Draw.io, and we explained what all of them are used to. Wireshark is used to capture and inspect network data packets to analyze traffic patterns and detect intrusion, while Shodan is the search engine that you can use to index internet connected devices. Draw.io is a tool for drawing um, Google Docs. We talked about commands, command line. We talked about base 64. There's crack station. There's rapid table. All of these are things that are essential for a cyber security professional to use. Right now, the benefits of and future prospects. There are short-term benefits and there are also long-term benefits. The short-term benefits include developing hands-on skills in network security, traffic analysis, and ethical hacking, learning to detect vulnerabilities in networks and prevent unauthorized access. The long-term benefits are careers in cybersecurity, penetration, like a penetration tester, you could be a SOC analyst, you could be a network security engineer, and also the pathways to advanced roles is ethical hacking, digital forensics, and threat analysis. Well, in conclusion, the skills one give from this XE 101 will help explore roles like penetration testers, SOC, analysts, and all of them. So, what I'm trying to say in essence is that from the beginning to the end of the things that I've learned, all the things that, including network um, trafficking, the OSI models, the numeral system from the bottom to the top, are things that from this model are things that will aid you become are essential skills or essential information that you should know if one is trying to become a cybersecurity official. So in the real world, you would be able to apply your this knowledge that you gained to protect corporate networks, to detect intrusions, and to conduct advanced security assessments. Thank you.